And welcome to your number one YouTube channel for the odd chance of quarantine. If you're bored, I probably got something here for you. How's it going, guys? Hopefully I got everything set up right. I think I do. I'll find out shortly. I got a bunch of videos to play. Fun ones. Fun ones and good ones. Probably start out with some really good ones. Let's see. I would say we'll probably start off by talking to some pastors about the shape of the earth, or what they think of flat earth. That's probably a good start, just because something I like to do is take videos of pastors that say things and see if they're saying the right things, I guess, is what I mean. See if I can find a problem with what they're saying. A lot of times I think that I can. So, whoops, okay. Sorry about all that. I'm just trying to find a video that I couldn't find. Alright, let's check out what Creation Ministries has to say, and let's check it out.
3 hours long.
Oops. Sorry.
And almost all flat earth videos are like 3 hours long. Science works, and it works well.
Hi everybody, my name is Robert Carter. I'm a speaker for Creation Ministries International.
Mercury, the Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars. There is a place where we can have the Bible and science. It's a happy place. You have the Bible, history, science, all wrapped up into a nice, neat bundle.
Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words?
We've come out to this nature area because that is the topic of today's talk. Earth. This is Earth, folks.
All things are attracted to all other things. They use the gravitational anomalies of two seen planets to discover an invisible planet. All of a sudden, it was like 2 or 3 summers ago, don't remember exactly, we had a whole bunch of CMI speakers all at the same time say, you know, I just ran into a flat earther. We had never heard of this. It's an urban myth invented to try to discredit Christianity. Go to creation.com, you can look that up for yourself. I don't have time to deal with it here. But all these flat earthers started popping up, and what on earth is this? And so when enough of that happened, we realized there was a trend going on.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come.
And there are some people who believe it. I don't know what the ratio is, but everywhere I go, NASA's a swear word. Yeah, NASA. Someone can float an idea in 30 seconds that might take you 3 days to figure out. When he created the universe, he would have done so according to his basic character traits.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
The universe is discoverable and knowable because God.
Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge?
So men like Johann Kepler, amazing astronomer, he discovered the 3 laws of planetary motion that drive Hall. Anytime we want to send something into outer space, we have to account for these. And he says of his work, it was like thinking God's thoughts after him. But remember those horrible formulas? That's a cool thought. Can Satan deceive millions of people about simple math? No. Obvious realities are obvious realities. Prove me wrong. The earth is a tiny little place in the flat earth model. A little petty God. He is all-powerful and all-sufficient, and he didn't create this tiny little 25,000-mile diameter dome.
The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof.
I don't recommend you actually tangle with these people, because everything they say will take you hours to answer. If you're tangling with a flat earther or someone like that, understand they think they're special. They think God has revealed something to them that you don't have.
But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. And ye also shall bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning.
I have not yet seen someone come out of this. You had to spend so much time learning the stuff, you kind of forget the rest of the world.
If the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you.
You know, flat earthers say that, of course, the earth is flat. They say that the idea of the earth being a round globe is part of a massive, huge cover-up, conspiracy. Now, I will agree that if the earth is in fact flat, then it would be the biggest cover-up, or one of the biggest cover-ups around the world, or on the world. And a lot of the flat earthers, they attribute this conspiracy to none other than El Diablo, Satan. And they say that Satan wants everyone to believe that the earth is a round globe instead of flat. And I never could quite understand why Satan wants everybody to believe the earth is a round globe. They also bring up Freemasonry. You hear this a lot. You hear that on Flat Earth videos, NASA is all run by Masons.
Well, they're wrong, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, against cosmic powers of the heavenly realms.
So apparently, this is what the Flat Earth people say. They say that there is a giant cover-up, a giant satanic cover-up. Satan wants everybody to believe that the earth is a round globe, and the Masons are the ones who are involved in covering up the shape of the earth on behalf of Satan. Now,
Again, there's nobody that knows about this deception except for who God sent that knows.
all of the information related to the idea of the earth not being a globe, that it is in fact being flat, and all these videos say that it is Satan covering up the shape of the earth to convince everybody that evolution is true. Now, the Bible, beyond any book in the world, actually reveals all of the secrets that Satan wants to keep. Jesus said there is nothing hidden but what shall be revealed. God reveals the deep and the secret things, the Bible says. So, if I look in Isaiah 14, where it talks about Lucifer, it actually says in Isaiah 14 what Lucifer's big plans are. Lucifer's big plans are: how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will ascend into heaven.
I will ascend into heaven.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, above the stars of God,
above the stars of God. I
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds.
will ascend above the heights of the clouds.
I will be like the Most High, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell to the sides of the pit. Now here, I mean, this pretty much covers it. This basically gives us what Satan's plan is. In Ezekiel 28, verse 13, thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. And then it says in verse 14, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou wast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled thee, the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Then it's going to tell, again, what was in his heart. Thy heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will cast thee to the ground.
I will cast thee to the ground.
Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities and by the iniquity of thy traffic.
Defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities and by the iniquity of thy traffic.
Okay, I had to pause it there because these are some old videos that I made, like, probably close to 2 years ago. Some of them are. But as I'm going through them, I'm realizing some more of the things, like, he's always saying this in the Bible and, like, many places, that we've defiled his sanctuary. Hey, Crystalline, and God Loves Me, Truth 101, and Roderick, and Nat, and Corey. Thank you guys for showing up. Oh, you're at work listening, huh? So, this is not for you then. This is quarantine radio. No, I'm just kidding. Totally joking. I couldn't pass it up. So I've been reading the Revelation a lot, the book of Revelation. And, man, crazy stuff in there. So, back to this video. But I'm going to rewind it just a little bit, like 5 seconds. He's talking about his sanctuary. And there's so many verses in the Bible that say about God's sanctuary. I can look some up. I know what they are. Like Psalm 102, I think, verse 19. I'm looking it up here. Just because when he says that he's the heaven is my throne, the earth is my footstool, like, why would he claim the heaven if we're supposed to go up there? Makes no sense to me. Let's see. Psalm 102, verse 9, maybe? I can't remember. Where is it? It is 19. For he hath looked down from the height of his sanctuary. From heaven did the Lord behold the earth. And then this one couldn't be any clearer. Psalm 150, verse 1. It says, praise ye the Lord, praise God in his sanctuary, praise him in the firmament of his power. Where are we talking about? Because he wouldn't say it so many times. I mean, if we look at that, the one I was thinking of was Isaiah 66:1. It says, thus saith the Lord. I'm going there. It says, oops. It's important. That's what I'm just saying. That's what the wickedness is in the end of days. It's going up to heaven. Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where's the house that ye build unto me, and where's my place, or where's the place of my rest? For all those things hath mine hand made, and all those things have been, saith the Lord. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. Yeah, back to the Pastor Hoggard. It's a globe. The devil isn't a liar, is what they're saying. Yeah, you're right, Roderick. That's basically there's, because here's what I have to say is that this is something. This subject of flat Earth is something that's been hidden. It's been hidden. It's not that it hasn't been believed before. All throughout time, people have believed in this world. And not like believing in the world, but I'm saying throwing away what we were taught. There's not 7 gods in the sky called planets. Those are there simply to deceive us. They're stars, which are angels, that didn't come out at their right time. So, Hoggard. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw this video that he made, and so I wanted to reply to some of the things. There's only 2.5 minutes left.
Sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, and by the iniquity of thy traffic.
Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, and it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to the ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold them. Again, there's nothing here about a global conspiracy. 2 Thessalonians 2 gives us some ideas about the Antichrist. And it says, let no man deceive you. This 2 Thessalonians 2:3. For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped. So the Antichrist hates God as much as Satan does. So what does the Antichrist do? What's his secret plan?
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. There is nothing in the Bible anywhere about a satanic conspiracy.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
To cover up the real truth behind the shape of the earth. But since they have never shown any reference from the Bible or any Masonic literature, since they have never shown actual proof that that's the conspiracy, then I have to assume that they're just not telling the truth.
Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness.
In 1973, when I got saved, nobody was talking about a flat earth. I have read the documents, the commentaries, the productions of many wise men down through the years, and not a one of them was talking about a flat earth.
Okay, this is an interesting thing right here. So, the reason why the pastor here, I'm having a mind block right now. Charles Lawson. Pastor Lawson here is frustrated, is because he's saying, he's studied this his whole life or however long, and he has never seen anybody trying to give flat earth this kind of credit, and that it's in the Bible. Hello, follow Jesus and crazy flat earther. And the reason why he's frustrated is because let me actually, it's only 20 seconds in. Let me play it again and notice what he says in these 20 seconds, and then I'll pause it and talk about it for a second.
In 1973, when I got saved, nobody was talking about a flat earth. I have read the documents, the commentaries, the productions of many wise men down through the years, and not a one of them was talking about a flat earth. Let me tell you something this morning.
Okay, here's why he's frustrated. Because this subject is a special subject. In Romans, the last few verses in Romans say this: "Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery which was kept secret since the world began." So Paul was preaching his gospel according to a mystery that was revealed to him. Did you guys know this? It says, according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began. So Paul was shown the revelation of a mystery. And then the next verse, verse 26, this is in Romans 16. "But now is made manifest, and by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the everlasting God, made known to all nations for the obedience of faith." So, made known. And this is what, probably most pastors aren't going to understand, but this is, this mystery, let's see, this mystery is something new. Something new. So, I'm just looking at the chat, trying to catch up a little bit. Hey, flat smacking Packer fan. That's great. I love that name. Okay, so back to Charles Lawson. But that's why he's frustrated. He's not understanding that in the end, there's going to be something that we didn't know revealed, and it was truth. Yeah, I could do a 24/7 channel probably. I have tons and tons of videos that I've just, from my channel over the years, that I've got where I can do them on this program here. But I have to, unless I recorded a 24-hour long video and played that over and over, or however I would do it, that would probably be, I don't know if my software would even do that, to be honest. But I've thought about it before, Roderick, because I could have a lot of oh, cool, Matthew Foley, good to see you. I've been working on a Google Maps project with lighthouses and their missing curvature measurements. Awesome. Lighthouses, yeah, that's actually something that nobody can argue with right there. So, when I'm playing these videos, I'm not playing these to rip on these pastors. I'm playing these to show what they're not willing to believe but some of us understand it and believe it. It's a matter of faith. When we say something in the Bible, like all the verses that say that the earth never moves, that it's established and shall not be moved, or all these verses that it's still and at rest, these kinds of things they argue with a spinning globe. If you're on a globe, it's spinning. And if you think you're spinning, you're not paying attention to the world you live in, actually. You're pretending you live in a different world above the world. If that makes any sense. That's something I'll think about, though, Roderick. Because I could do it. All I'd have to do is just play, but I'd have to pre-record it. Which I could pause that at any time and talk too. But that is something that now you got me thinking. Because I do got a lot of videos that I think are funny ones, and I have more like studying ones, and then more like blowing my trumpet ones, like it's the end of the world. So let's listen to the pastor.
And you please hear what I've got to say. This is important. When all this stuff started bouncing back in my face a few months ago, I said to myself, well, these are brothers and these are sisters. They know the Lord. They love the Lord. We can abide together. We may not all see things exactly the same, but if we have the same Holy Spirit, we can dwell together as brethren. That was my attitude toward it, and I tried to project that attitude.
Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
And all of a sudden now, all these Christians, the Bible says it's fine.
And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them. They shall be turned back. They shall be greatly ashamed that trust in graven images, that say to the molten images, Ye are our gods.
Then all of a sudden, 8-9 years ago, this flat earth movement comes out, or maybe even more recently than that.
Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and the deaf that have ears. Let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled, who among them can declare this, and show us former things. Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, It is truth.
The idea of the flat earth crowd that's driving a wedge between God's people is sowing discord among the brethren.
For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be they of his own household.
So it's so ridiculous. And these flat earthers, it's their whole religion. They're obsessed with it. We've had flat earthers in our church that just is all they talk about. All they talk about. I mean, I had this guy.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come.
I finally just got in his face and yelled at him, because I'm just like, I don't care about the flat earth. I'm sick of you talking to me. What do you not understand when I said I have no interest? I'm not interested.
It's because they have no respect for the man of God. That's not the world I was saved into. The world I was saved into in 1973, we respected the man of God. We may not have agreed with everything you had to say. Oh, no. That's okay to think. You don't have to agree with everything, but we respected God's man.
They say, well, the Bible says the sun rises and sets. Therefore, flat earth. Okay, well... And they're like, well, that means the sun's moving. Obviously, it's just talking from the perspective of where we're standing that the sun's moving.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
But how many of you ever seen a photograph of this blue planet? It's a beautiful thing. Chuck Colson got saved. He wrote this about astronauts who found God. He said, Frank Borman was commander of the first space crew to travel beyond the Earth's orbit. Looking down on the Earth from 250,000 miles, Borman radioed back a message, quoting Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And he later explained, he said, I had an enormous feeling that there had to be power greater than any of us, that there was a God, that there was indeed a beginning. How many of you have ever seen a photograph? And I know if you're a flat earther, you don't know how the photograph even exists. You know it's all fabricated. It's all a hoax.
But if we believe the basic traditional scientific view of the way the universe is laid out, leave me alone!
A beautiful thing. Listen to this. The late James Irwin, who walked on the moon in 1971, later became an evangelist minister. He often described the lunar mission as a revelation. In his words, he said, I felt the power of God as I had never felt it before. Charles Duke followed Irwin to the moon, later became active in ministry work. As he explained, he said, I make speeches about walking on the moon and walking with the Son of God.
All right, you know I gotta bust into this video. I made this video like probably more than 2 years ago. But he's talking about he's giving you the testimony of one of the devil's 12 disciples that went to the moon. You don't want that testimony. He's talking about a guy that went to the moon. And what does the Bible say about that? The moon is actually a light. And it's in a celestial place. I'm not saying I get it, but yeah. We're not supposed to be up in those areas of this creation. Jesus said it. He said, no man... I'll go read it. In John 3. Because Nicodemus was... I think it's in John 3. I think it was when he was talking to Nicodemus about being born again. Now I just lost my... Oh yeah, it's verse 13. But if, like, I think that Jesus was warning us about this deception. Because that reminds me of another place. Okay, we'll go there in a minute. But he says, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. That's important. John 3. So, but he also says in John 5, he says something else that seems like he's specifically talking about something, the subject that we kind of, excuse me, this subject that we end up talking about. Verse 45, do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. So I think he's saying that Moses is accusing us. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. Like, I think that's saying Moses gave us an account that said, let there be light. The account of creation that we have. It's only one story, and it's like, hey, Joey Rocha, good to see you. it's like a different story than the globe. It's way different. But he says, "For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if ye believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words?" Yeah, so what happened in our world, you guys? I mean, there has been one truth that there's so many different levels of it. I'm talking about flat earth. Okay, first level is it triggers everybody. And not so much anymore. But at first, 5 years ago or something, wow. People are like, you need to see a psychiatrist or whatever. You need to go see a shrink. And they, like, in a ridiculous way. Good question, Joey. Yes, that's what I think is happening. Joey says, is this revelation that we are living through? And I'm thinking he's referring to the book of Revelation. Are we living in the end times? I think that, let me do something here, because that's a good question, Joey. And I just gotta, I'm actually working on a video, but I didn't get very far on it. Or it's not necessarily a video. Something to put in a video. Let me see if I can. I have a lot of items to look through, but I got one that might remind you. You know, it all depends on what you believe, I guess, if you think we're in the end times or not, but when things happen up in the sky that a guy saw 2,000 years ago, remember her? Oh, you forgot? That's what it's supposed to be, her saying, what? You forgot? So, that's something that if you're not familiar with what that is, or what I believe it is, I'm here. Maybe this is a good one to share. Let me pause from Pastor Lawson, and that's probably about the best I can get that. I want to fill the whole screen up, but I can't. I'll just leave it kind of smaller. Okay. Sorry, Pastor Lawson. So I'm just going to read a couple verses in Revelation 12. You guys can tell me what you think, because I'll say this: pay attention to this. Has to be I'm just saying, to understand it the way I do, you just have to listen to what John says, and don't put anything else. Don't put any of your own mustard on it. Don't have any preconceived ideas. John's describing something that he's seeing with his eyes. And you can tell that he's seeing it, because he keeps saying, I see it. I saw this. There was there's no reason to throw all that out. So he says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven. So he's looking up at the sky. It says, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. So, what's on the screen here is, I think it's called Virgo, but it's just a constellation in the sky. And the way that it lined up with the planets that were above it, and the moon was beneath it. This happened on September 23rd, 2017. And pretty much everybody was talking about it too. But then I'm going to keep reading. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. That's in the sky. I have to remind people, because saying in heaven, people don't think of the sky, but that's where it is. Okay, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. So you can see that I put the SpaceX Dragon with Elon Musk riding in it. And SpaceX. That's the Dragon capsule. The 10 horns, in my opinion, are 10 horns. Look what Elon Musk is riding in a comical way there. But those capsules, they're like little conical shaped. And then there's the logo on the Falcon 9 rocket, has 2 kind of horns too. Anyway, and they call it SpaceX Dragon, the little horn. But I think that's the 10 horns was the first 10 capsules that they built Dragon. But anyway, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. So he was up in heaven, and his tail, let me see if I can, sorry Pastor Lawson, we got sidetracked, but I'm just trying to show you guys something. I'm going to see if I can find something to look at here. I should have one somewhere here. Okay, so his tail would be this. And this is just an animation. It's not like a real thing. This is just an animation. But do you see that? It's like it lands. Let's see, I can show you maybe a better one. Maybe I can't. But anyhow, that happened up in the sky. And now that dragon, it goes up there, and here's a animation of that, I guess. Whoops. It goes up to the space station. See that? There's the Dragon capsule. Little horn. And it goes and gives its power to the beast. So that's in the next chapter. But his tail would be, what I'm thinking is the part that broke off and went back down to land. And that's in Revelation 13 too. It describes both these things again. Or it gives us other details. See how it's giving the space station, it's the resupply ship. And this is just an animation. But it goes to the space station and connects onto it. So, and that's called the dragon. So in Revelation 13, he sees a beast rise out of the sea, and it had 7 heads, 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy. Blasphemy? Did I say that right? And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And then two verses later, in verse 4, it says, And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Space station is the only thing outside of this earth. And then there's more to this too. Because he sees another beast coming up out of the earth, speaking like a dragon, and he sees, oh, there it is. I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And then 2 verses later, in verse 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's exactly what that rocket does. It goes back and lands. Let me see if I can't find that one. Yeah, there it is. Somewhere right here. I just saw it. But yeah, right here. Sorry, Pastor Lawson. We'll get. This is what people should know at the pulpit. This tells us a lot. Hey, Colin Dresser. The Jetsons were ahead of NASA. Yep. Totally. But see, that right there is a booster falling down out of the sky. Let me see if I have. It's a really bad quality one, but you'll get the. Whoops. So, what this is called. Oh, where is it? Maybe I'll have to go find a different one. I'm just trying to give you... Oh, I gotta show you guys this. But I gotta get some music going first. Man, Pastor Lawson's getting put in the back. Hold on a minute here. Let's see. We need some music going here. Just kind of a little bit. Let's see here. So they got some footage of Dragon being tested, but this isn't a serious thing. This is now I'm only joking right now, but it's obvious that I'm joking. Okay. I found that online. I thought that was funny. Okay, back to... Whoops. The background music. Let's listen to the Pastor Lawson.
Guy Gardner is a veteran astronaut who speaks in churches on the reality of God. And on and on and on it goes.
But don't listen to him like that way. He's giving you testimony of astronauts. Like, take the testimony of Jesus instead. Seriously. Because the astronauts are wrong. They might think that they're right, but they're not right. Okay.
And then we have the Jeffrey Williams. This astronaut spent 534 days in space. He's a born-again Christian. Jeffrey Williams loves the Lord. He took thousands of photographs and videos from the space station as it moved in the heavens above the earth. It such a magnificent sight, it took his breath away. Right now, you can log on to the internet if you want to. And you can go to the International Space Station, the ISS, and you can get a live feed from that space station. Right now, you can watch it as it moves across the face of the earth.
Okay, I'm trying to apply this to reality, because this can be very clearly applied to reality. Do you see the witness he's given you? He's saying that you can go verify these things because you can go to the International Space Station and watch a live video from the space station in your living room or whatever. Let me rewind it a little bit. But what I'm trying to say is he's not using God to be his witness at all. He's using that globe again. I'm just saying that globe it's bad.
Internet if you want to. And you can go to the International Space Station, the ISS, and you can get a live feed from that space station. Right now, you can watch it as it moves across the face of the earth. Did you know, folks, that there are...
It sounds like he's trying to sell it, but like Pastor Lawson's awesome. He's awesome, but he's falling. He's staying deceived when the truth is available and clear if you actually look. Colin Dresser said it, graven image. It's you know what? It's the image that Paul said that we would change the glory of God into. In Romans 1, Paul said that. I'll find it. It's important. Let's see. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations. And their foolish heart was darkened, professing themselves to be wise. They became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. That's what I think it is. I think it's just, it is an image, a false image. Oh, wait, false image? We're going to have to come back to Pastor Lawson. We'll come right back, Pastor Lawson. Got this footage of the space station. It was hard to get this footage, but there you go. They know it. I'm just kidding. Chuck Colson, yeah, I think that's probably a moon landing astronaut or something. I have no idea. Okay, I just had to share that with you. Back to this.
In Irwin to the moon, later became Ace. He's a born-again Christian. Jeffrey Williams loves the Lord. He took thousands of photographs and videos from the space station as it moved in the heavens above the earth. It such a magnificent sight, it took his breath away. Right now, you can log on to the internet if you want to. And you can go to the International Space Station, the ISS, and you can get a live feed from that space station. Right now, you can watch it as it moves across the face of the earth.
Okay, so, sorry, there was a verse I was going to read just at that point, because he's using that as his witness, right? And I think we might have even just read it. That same chapter 13 in Revelation. Yeah, we did just read it. I'm reading it again. Because you can apply this to reality. He's choosing a lie over the truth. And listen to this. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? That's what Pastor Lawson's saying right now. You can't compare with the ISS. Listen to what he says.
Did you know, folks, that there are over 4,000 satellites right now in the heavens? 4,000 satellites are going around this globe right now, 4,000 of them. You're telling...
That's the whole trick. That's the whole trick right there. Nothing's going around a globe because the earth is beneath our feet and water's surface is flat. So that's really hard to argue with, especially the water. You know, we don't see spherical water anywhere. I mean, look, drops and all these dumb little arguments. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the surface of bodies of water. Oceans don't curve. Thank you, Flat Earth. Oceans don't curve. So, back to the pastor. But what I'm saying is, the Bible says that they'd be doing this. He's using the ISS for his, like, he's worshiping the beast. That's because the dragon gives it its power. I'm just saying that this story matches the one in Revelation. So that answers your question, I'm sure, way back there. Joey Rocha asked that question. I'm not going to find it there. So yeah, careful how sneaky the devil is.
Me that thousands and thousands and thousands of people, including all these Christian astronauts, are nothing but liars and fakers. You're telling me that it's all a sham.
No. These people believe the lie. There's a big difference. If someone's lying to you out of their heart every day, that's just not too realistic. I mean, people keep quiet about things or whatever and don't talk about things or whatever, but what I'm saying, when it comes down to it, there isn't a whole, a whole rocket industry and everything that's lying. They're doing something and they believe the results. They believe that there's a rover on Mars when there's no place up there. Those are all spirits, like angels. Good ones, and there's bad ones. Yeah, Roderick, that's exactly it. Using, other men. What was that? Romans 4:3, I think. Or 3:4. I always get it screwed up. It says the men are the liars, Sorry, having a hard time getting there. God forbid, yea, let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in the sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So yeah, here we go.
That it's all a fakery, and that's all you can say. Because I really would, I don't know how much courage you've got. I would like for you to look Jeffrey Williams in the face, the astronaut that spent 535 days in orbit of this earth. I would like for you to look him in the face, and he's a Christian, he loves the Lord, and look him in the face and tell him he's a liar and a deceiver. You got the courage to do it? Send him an email and say, I think you're a fake. I think you're a fakery. I think that NASA is it's all created garbage. It's all made to deceive people. There is no such thing as a round earth. Would you do that? If you have the convictions that what you believe is true, why don't you do it? Go further into it. Search it out. And now Elon Musk is the trump card. I hate to use the word Trump. I mean, I'm not against Trump. I appreciate a lot of stuff he's done, believe me. But, it can become childish after a while. But Elon Musk is sending up huge rockets into the space, right? He's sending these rockets up. Do you know what he plans to do next? He's going to put people on them and send them up to the moon. The people that have the money, they're going to go up to the moon. What are they going to do? They're going to look out the windows and photograph the earth. Think of all these people that are going to be going up. And this is a few years, it's not long in the future. And they're going to be photographing this round, blue, beautiful planet out here in space. They're going to photograph it, and they're going to come back and talk about how beautiful that this earth is. What will you do then? When you are faced with...
I'll talk about water. Excuse me, I'll talk about water again. Water. Can't argue with water. If you pour water into a container, because it needs a container, first of all, or it just keeps running. If it's going down a hill, it has to have something to stop it on the edges. And in order to be a puddle or a lake or anything, it has to have a container. Very important. Because it tells you a lot about water. And the whole idea of gravity, it doesn't pull to the center of anything. It just goes, it pulls down. Down. Everywhere you go, there's a clear up and a clear down. That's part of the reality that we live in. And I think if you start thinking about it as a rock that's not quite cooled down yet, so the inside of it is spinning or something different, and it's molten, you gotta be kidding me. That's all just far out crazy theories. If it looks like a globe from space, does that mean it's a globe? Can you see the whole thing? They just see a circle. And what I'm trying to say is that that's anything that's beyond that firmament, it's a strong delusion sent by God. That's what I know. Because when they put the Tower of Babel up, he did the same thing. They shot arrows up at heaven. I don't really know. I think it's probably more than like bow and arrow arrows, I'm guessing. From the tower or whatever. What I'm saying is, he took their arrows and dropped them back down on them, covered in blood, to cause them to err. And they destroyed themselves. And there was like 3 groups of them, but I'm not sure, Brian Wrightsell. I can rewind it a little bit, but let's see if we can pick it up from here.
Overwhelming evidence from so many different areas. What will you do then? Will you stick with your flat earth doctrine? But flat earth doctrine is causing discord among the brethren.
You understand? The sun's moving, everything's moving. The sun's moving, the earth's moving.
That tells me that there's something going on that's greater than a flat earth thing.
Folks, get a brain. What's the sermon about? Get a brain. And you know what? If you're one of these flat earthers, please, for the love of all that's holy, get off those YouTube videos. Get off those websites and go to some real sources of learning. Go to the library and get a library card. It's free. I will buy you whatever book you want.
This crowd today has no respect for the man of God.
Oh, if we could just get people to believe in God, then they'll be saved. Really?
It has to do with the demonic attack upon the church from the inside.
What we see here is that the earth could be filled with water to where the highest mountain is covered, right?
No, you're not right. Pastor Anderson, no, you're not right. Pour some water on it. And then he'll say, oh, you don't know the science of it. This doesn't have enough gravity for the water to stick on. It'd have to be big like the earth. Come on. Your Bible has a better story in it. In Genesis, there's a firmament, and if you believe that they're going to the moon, you believe that they're going into the firmament. And just think of the Tower of Babel, Pastor Anderson. What are they doing now? Is it less extreme than the Tower of Babel, or is it more extreme than the Tower of Babel? Because God came down and stopped them when they were just building a tower. Maybe it was a huge tower. Whatever it was. who's climbing higher? It's 2020, right, Pastor Anderson? Why do you have a globe on your pulpit?
We don't need somebody who's carried about and tossed about with every wind of internet crap.
Okay, give me a break.
And so I don't want anything to do with it. And this flat earth thing, people will say, yeah, but, you know, if we could just get people to believe in the flat earth, then they'll realize there's a God.
Yeah, that happened to maybe millions of people in the last 5 years. Like they realized something. So if you're a person that hasn't realized this yet, try to. Because it's the truth. Pastor Anderson is missing out on the truth. Pastor Lawson, I mean, I think that hopefully Pastor Lawson, maybe he can't preach on it. But at first he was saying some really interesting things about it. And then he must have gotten attacked or something. But because he kind of changed his tune, and that in this video, that's what you're seeing is the kind of changed tune, Pastor Lawson. So I'll see if I got the other one. I'll see if I can find it.
The believe of God. Satan wants to destroy the church from within.
If gravity's so strong, then how did Michael Jordan jump so high? To give you the message of the Big Bang. I am the God. I mean, you're like, hey, he's gonna say, hey, you've heard of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? I'm the God of Captain Kirk. I'm the God of Spock. I'm the God of Captain Sulu. You know, I am here to tell you the truth of the cosmosity.
Do you know what the secular world thinks about us? When they are in possession of that enormous amount of material that proves that this earth is a globe, do you know what they think about us? Do you know what we look like to them? I'm not one bit interested in whether I'm accepted by the world or not. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. I'm not going to go out of my way to make myself look like a fool. I do that without going out of my way.
He's got a great sense of humor.
What do you think they think of you when you start that?
Learn! There are hundreds of thousands, yea, millions of people watching these videos. If you look at these flat earth videos, they have hundreds of thousands of views, and just the thumbs up are just thousands and thousands of thumbs up. Look, I put up a video preaching against flat earth where I just mentioned it a few minutes in a sermon. 1,000 thumbs down. 1,000 thumbs down. 1,000 thumbs down. 1,000 thumbs down. 1,000 thumbs down.
1,000 thumbs down. Maybe there's a reason why, Pastor Anderson. Okay, so this one is Pastor Lawson. I made a video, and as you can see on your screen there, I made a video, and this was something, I'm going to start it right about there.
To you, and I want you to think about it. Geocentric and heliocentric. So what does that mean? It's just a big word. You pay for the education, let folks know you've been to school. Here's what it means. Geocentric means that the earth is the center of the universe. Heliocentric means that the sun is the center of the universe, known universe, our solar system, and everything revolves around the sun. With a geocentric view, the sun and everything revolves around the earth, and the earth is fixed where it is. Now, here's the thing. My little excursion into this has revealed that most of the people that believe in a geocentric view of the earth also believe that the earth is flat. All right, I'm done with him. Am I in a Sunday school class where the preacher believes that we have a flat earth? No, I'm not saying I believe it. But I like debate, don't you? I'm going to throw some things out there for you this morning. I love debate. If what you believe is real, and you really believe it, and you have a foundation for that belief, you should be able to defend it. That's right. That's right. I have no respect for somebody who says, well, I believe this and that, and you don't have anything to back it up. I'm not saying I believe in a flat earth. No. But there are some interesting points they make. Let me give you one. How many understand if the earth is a ball out here in space, then it has a curvature to it, right? It has a curvature. It's going to have a curvature.
Okay, so I got to encourage everyone to listen to what he's saying now. This was the first thing that I found of him talking about flat earth. And this is really good. And listen to his example, because his example is one really simple truth. Check it out. It's awesome.
You're going to see a curvature. Now, what's going to be more apparent is the higher you get, the more you're going to be able to see the curvature, right? In other words, you have to get to a point in space where you're able to look down on the earth and see the curvature of the earth, and therefore prove without a doubt that the earth is round. Now, this gets into the scientific geology or geography or whatever they are, who measure things like this. But did you know that in Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois sits on the western bank of Lake Michigan? How many of y'all know that? Chicago, Illinois, it's a good-sized town. At one time, Chicago was the second largest town in America. Chicago, Illinois. It sits right there. It butts right up against Lake Michigan. Right up against it, Lake Michigan. You can go 40 miles across the peninsular part of Michigan. I forget the name of the town over there, and it's in another state. And you can get out there on a boat 40-something miles away from Chicago and look across Lake Michigan, and you can see the skyline of Chicago, Illinois. A meteorologist was talking about what he called what is that thing? A mirage. A mirage. A phenomenon of a mirage. And he showed a picture of the skyline of Chicago, Illinois. And he said, now this is a classic mirage. I said, what do you mean? And so the meteorologist went into this big long scientific thing about how, well, now we have these reflecting bands of the earth, and we have this I forget what all he called it, but he said the light that is reflected off of Chicago, Illinois is coming up and it's hitting a certain point here, and then it's bouncing back down again. And so people 40 miles away are able to see Chicago. You see, they can see Chicago because that the light is coming up and bouncing down, and they can see it. All right? That makes sense, doesn't it? That makes sense for the curvature of the earth. How many are following me here now? See, he was trying to explain to people, how can we 40 miles away see Chicago? And he was explaining to them how that the light was coming up and bouncing back down, and it was a mirage. You weren't really seeing Chicago by looking straight at it. You were seeing a reflection of Chicago through the clouds and the atmosphere and whatever else is up there. So these guys up there, they got in this boat. You've always got somebody like this.
Shout out Rob Skiba and Rick Hummer.
They had to wait for a certain day to come clear enough, because 40 miles is a long way to see, folks. And they got in their boat, and they hooked up their cameras, and they focused in on Chicago, and you could barely see it. Barely, because of the haze and the distance. But they kept their cameras trained on Chicago, Illinois, and they began to cross Lake Michigan. And do you know something? Nothing ever changed except Chicago got clearer. Now, if you're following me in all of this, here's the point. If the earth is curved, they should not have been able to see Chicago 40 miles away. Is that right? How many of you know? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. How many of you know how far you have to go before you lose sight of the horizon that you were looking at, say 10 miles away? See? Is that what it is? 12 miles? All right. So how far do you have to go? 12 miles. So you go 15 miles, you're starting to, depends on how tall it is, you're beginning to lose sight of the horizon, whatever you saw on the horizon. How many follow me on this now? See? And so by the time you're 25 or 30 or 40 miles away, it should be completely gone because of the curvature of the earth. Well, why did they see Chicago? Now, I'm not saying I believe it, but it makes me think. How did they see Chicago? Airline pilots when they go up, flight level, let's say 30 or 35, in other words 30,000 or 35,000 feet in the air. Let's say they're up there at 35,000 feet. As they rise in that aircraft, did you know what amazing thing happens? The horizon rises. Now, if the horizon was curved, would it rise or would it fall? So you believe in the flat earth? No, but I believe in listen to what they got to say. You see, here's their point. Their point is that God made the earth and he made everything else as it relates to the earth. And the earth is the center of God's plan for man. And that it is here the issue of sin and salvation is settled. And that because of that, the earth is primary and is of primary importance in God's creation. In plainer words, you're not going to find anything out there that is nearly as important as what you've got going on here. Now, as far as that's concerned, I go with them 100%. Got no problem with that, do you? No, sir. The Bible said the earth is his footstool. No problem with that whatsoever. But here's what they say. They say a sinister element has entered in. What's the sinister element?
I got a comment. Nat says Lawson listened until he was personally attacked. I think that's kind of sad. And that is, you know what I think? That that moment, or that, you know, the times when he's attacked and this kind of stuff is such strong spiritual warfare that a lot of people just aren't aware of. It's a war happening, and it gets hot, you know. The reason why is you're convicting yourself, because you're right, Nat. Excuse me. He totally. If you listen to what he's saying right now, the Holy Spirit was clearly guiding him to something, and so that just tells me that, like, I wouldn't expect him to come out and say, yeah, I guess I think the flat earthers probably are onto something. Like, even if, you know what I'm saying? Just because that it's such a, there's a lot of, like, if he did, he knows that would be like a popular video. And so he would have to take everything that comes with that. And maybe I'm not saying that, what I'm saying is every year that goes on that people are speaking the truth in this world is more time for them to get used to the idea that we were believing something, that we were facing the east, worshiping the sun. So we didn't realize that, obviously. But yeah, he's saying some good stuff, and it is too bad that, or sad or whatever, that he gets, you know, I'm sure it's mostly email or things like that.
The sinister element is this, that since the earth is not the center of the universe or the center of the known creation as we understand it, therefore the earth is really not that important, that it's just a little speck out here in the end, and that what's really important is what's been going on up there, because what's going on up there has been coming down here to visit with us here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read a little more about the flat earth. Here's why. I may never believe the earth is flat, but I may learn a lot of things from it that may help me understand my Bible in ways that I could never understand it before. You say, well, now, preacher, haven't you seen the photographs that they take when they send up these spacecraft and they look down and here's this beautiful globe hanging right out in the middle of the sky, right in the space, this beautiful globe in space? How do you explain that? Well, here's the way they explain it. They got about 8 or 9 or 10 different globes. And they say, notice how it's changed down through the years. Here's the point that they make. It's a simple point. Do you know anybody that's ever been able to go into orbit and come back? Do you know what 35,000 feet is in the air? 5, 6, 5, 7. That's 7 miles almost. All right? How high do you have to get in the air before you see the curvature of the earth? In other words, if you're not part of the military, or you're not part of the government, or you're not part of NASA, you don't have the capability of going into orbit. You see what I'm saying? In other words, everything you know about space and about what this earth looks like from space, you got it from NASA. Horizon. You begin to lose it. So here's the question. Let's bring you back to square one. If you lose the horizon, let's say at 12 miles, whatever you could see at 10 miles by 12, it's going under. You can't see it. Okay? How could you see Chicago, Illinois 40 miles away? And I'm not talking about just the tops of the skyscrapers. I'm talking about Chicago right there from the base up. Anybody got any ideas? Now the meteorologist says that it was a mirage, but it was no mirage the day these guys got in this boat and sailed across the Lake Michigan and watched it as it went. Anybody got any idea? It's angry. That's aggravating, isn't it? You know what's aggravating about it? I'm not telling you that I believe in the flat earth, but what I am saying to you is we're presented with something that doesn't have an easy answer. And when you get something that doesn't have an easy answer, people get uncomfortable, don't they? They get uncomfortable.
And the flat earth and the blah, 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 all this stupid junk that's meaningless. You know, they want to come at you with us, and you're just like, why? Why does it matter? Who cares? No! But no, we're going to win the world to Christ by proving that it's flat. Anybody who thinks it's flat is a moron. Who cares?
Whoa, dude, what if it's flat, dude? Whoa.
And you know, you say, why do you even bring this up? It's so stupid. Because I get an email about it every day of my life.
Every day of my life.
Have you ever seen any king in the world cast down stars to the ground?
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Have you ever seen any king in the world cast down stars to the ground?
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Or go to the host of heaven.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2
change.
Ever seen any king in the world cast down stars to the ground?
They worshipped the beast, saying,
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
With your naked eye. I've seen it. You know, you look up and people are looking at it, and they got their binoculars and they're looking at it, and you know, it's a little light dot and it's moving. No.
Elon Musk is the card. But Elon Musk is sending up huge rockets into the space, right? He's sending these rockets up. Do you know what he plans to do next? He's going to put people on them and send them up to the moon. The people that have the money, they're going to go up to the moon. What are they going to do? They're going to look out the windows and photograph the earth. Think of all these people that are going to be going up. And this is a few years, it's not long in the future. And they're going to be photographing this round, blue, beautiful planet out here in space. Thousands of photographs and videos from the space station as it moved in the heavens above the earth. It such a magnificent sight, it took his breath away. Right now you can log on to the internet if you want to, and you can go to the International Space Station, the ISS, and you can get a live feed from that space station. Right now you can watch it as it moves across the face of the earth. When they are in possession of that enormous amount of material that proves that this earth is a globe, do you know what they think about us?
And in those days the angels will gather together, and will throw themselves towards the east. Upon the Parthians and Medes they will stir up the kings, so that a disturbing spirit will come upon them, and they will drive them from their thrones. And they will come out like lions from their lairs, and like hungry wolves in the middle of their flocks. And they will go up and trample on the land of my chosen ones. And the land of my chosen ones will become before them a tramping ground and a beaten track. And in those days Sheol will open its mouth, and they will sink into it and their destruction. Sheol will swallow up the sinners in front of the faces of the chosen. And it came to pass after this, that I saw another host of chariots with men riding on them. And they came upon the wind from the east and from the west to the south.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond. Well,
And the sound of the noise of their chariots was heard. And when this occurred, the holy ones observed it from heaven, and the pillars of the earth were shaken from their foundations.
Are you guys listening to the verses? So he said he saw another host of wagons with men riding thereon, and they came upon the winds. So he saw men flying in wagons, or another version I saw said chariots. But there was men riding on them, and they were coming on the winds. That means they were flying. So I'm going to rewind it just a little bit.
And the sound of the noise of their chariots was heard. And when this occurred, the holy ones observed it from heaven, and the pillars of the earth were shaken from their foundations.
The pillars of the earth were shaken from their foundations, from the noise.
And the sound was heard from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven throughout the day. And all will fall down and worship the Lord of spirits. And
Enoch saw these things launching. I mean, I don't know specifically which one, but the shuttle makes a good candidate. I don't know what other kind of wagons fly up on the four winds. Yeah, the pillars of the earth are moved out of their place. From the sound, it says from the turmoil of the sound of their wings or whatever. So then another interesting thing that I was just going to share is Enoch, he saw the treasuries of the winds. And guess what the winds are? I'll just read a couple verses in Enoch 18. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. And I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. So then he actually proceeded apparently up, and he gets to the prison. Well, the angel told him, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. So that's a whole big mystery on its own. But that's, I believe that's what this is all about. This space exploration.
this is the end of the second parable.
Yeah, Nat, I've never been to a launch, but he says, my wife and I went to a shuttle launch on our second honeymoon. The vibration of the rocket engine 6 miles away vibrated my chest big time. It's like if you have a decent stereo or whatever just for your TV at home or whatever, if you crank up the sound during, like, I'll find a video that I can play, just an actual video that had good microphones for one, you can tell, and we're talking, yeah, you're 6 miles away. Yeah, we destroyed that technology. These people are, see, look at, this is what Satan wants to do, or Lucifer. He says, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Space station. That's his throne. I saw in the chat earlier someone put, I can't remember which verse it is, about Satan transforms himself into an angel of light. And there's this guy. Okay, so I want to show you a video of this rocket, but I gotta, I thought I had it in here. I gotta find it. And I actually don't know. Oh, I think it's this one. Let me try it. Nope, that's not the right one. That's Kermit. Meet Kermit the Frog. He noticed something. Oh, it's this one right here.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Roderick, that's awesome. Because that's what I had in mind. Roderick says 7-minute warning to Midnight Ride. So, do you have a link for that one? If you do, that would be great. Put in the chat. Because that's where I'm going. Yeah, 5 minutes. Nat says 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Flat Earth. It was 2 Corinthians 11:14. Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. What was an insult to our community? I'm not in a community. I guess you, yeah. If there's a community, there's usually something that I don't agree with. Thank you, Nat. It's called, Surely We Have Inherited Lies, Mixing the Holy and Profane. Ought to be interesting. So yeah, after this video, I'm gonna end it. This is a video, I think... I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. This booster right here is like... It's the first time that an orbital class booster lands. Now look at the size of that thing. It is huge. But alright, Colin. Thanks you guys for showing up. So yeah, this video is almost over. But I just wanted to show you the size. This is coming back into port on their drone ship. After landing, it landed on that thing. So of course that might be why you think it's an insult to our community, if that's what you meant. I don't know.